very few outside of the United States and Europe. And 60% of those bonds were sold to banks and savings and loans, Sparkasse and things like that throughout Europe. And when the market came down and it was exposed what was going on, the value of these bonds dropped precipitously. They would pay $1,000 for a bond, and it might drop to 60 or 70. Today, some of them are worth 5 cents on the dollar. And I, in my publication, The International Forecaster, have been screaming for almost 3 years now. Why hasn't anybody been prosecuted or had civil charges brought against them? Well, finally, it's happening. But to answer your question, you're probably referring to Europe. And the reason, and I had this in Saturday's issue, I got a letter from Berlin from the Finanzamt, and it was from one of the executives there. And he even put his name on it and said, leave it there. And the reason why there's never been any lawsuits or prosecutions, because most of those toxic garbage that was sold by Deutsche Bank, and they're untouchable. And that's why you haven't seen any legal action.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A Marine's Disquisition, heard live around the world on Wind Talkers Radio Network and off the internet by the grace of God and Blog Talk Radio. We're heard 6 days a week, same time, same station, off the internet or from your favorite Blog Talk Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, today it's Thursday, the 13th day of May 2010, and Mr. Bob Chapman, the internationalforecaster.com. That's the internationalforecaster.com. His phone number, you can find him and leave a message, and he'll call you back on his dime. It's 800-375-4188. You can send him an email at bob@INT4Caster. That's INTFORECASTER.com, and the phone number is 800-375-4188. You have money tied up somewhere and you want to look for an investment, you want to put it somewhere where it's safe, Mr. Bob Chapman is the place you need to talk. He doesn't get paid for what he recommends. He wants you to be safe. He wants you to have your investments, your re-enlistment bonuses, any kind of money you got. Talk to this man. He's out here doing this at his own free will, just like God gave it to you. Free will. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Mr. Bob Chapman back to the show. And with my first question to Mr. Chapman comes from Marine Corps chat, from the Blog Talk chat room. Since Bob was talking about Europe, does he think the euro will go down further? A week ago, he told us the euro was oversold and will rise. What does he feel now?
I feel
Mr. Chapman,
that
welcome back.
it's going to remain under pressure. And I thought there would be a rally. Actually, there was. It ran from 126 back to 130. And it was very short-lived. So we did get the rally, but it didn't stick, it didn't last. And quite frankly, I don't know where the bottom is. An indication of what people think of the euro, particularly in Germany and in Switzerland, which has experienced the same run on gold and silver, bears out the fact that people think the euro is going lower. And, of course, there's rumors that Germany may leave the euro, and you have to treat them as euros, as rumors, because we just don't know. So I don't know where the bottom is. It could be 120, maybe later this year, maybe it'll be 1. There's a lot of pressure. And when you have to have a bailout plan of $1 trillion, That's a lot of money. And incidentally, via participation in the IMF, which is participating in this bailout of the central banks in Europe and other banks, the United States will pay about $65 billion into that fund, for those of you who weren't aware of it. But anyway, it's a hard call now because everything's upside down. And, the euro's come down from 150, and that's a big correction. But then again, we have a very unusual time that we're going through. And so, quite frankly, you're better off in gold and silver.
Okay, I have a question from the Blog Talk chat room. Can you ask Bob if he's heard a rumor about Germany pulling out of the euro and going back to the Dutch mark?
Well, I just addressed that, and yes, I have heard that. And how much credibility or credence I can give to it, I just don't know. I would say at the moment that I don't see that happening. Eventually, I do. If you go back to 10 years ago when the Germans went into the euro after the Maastricht Treaty, you'll find that 63% of the people did not want to go into the euro in Germany. And over time, that figure for men has gone to 69% and the women to 71%. What those figures are now, those figures are rather old. I'd say probably 9 months old. So I don't know what the figures are now, but I think they're probably higher.
Okay. And I thought you addressed that after I started reading. Betty from Southern California, please ask Mr. Chapman if we will lose our money if we have funds in safety deposit boxes. Also, please ask what he thinks of the possible audit of the Federal Reserve, and is just one audit going to bring forth the truth or just cover it up?
Number one, under the U.S. Patriot Acts, Homeland Security can go to any safe deposit box in a bank and remove whatever they want. And so I would not keep gold and silver in a safe deposit box. I would keep it at home inside of a safe. And I always like to point out a gun safe because they're very practical. They weigh about 800 pounds or more, and all the safe crackers are dead. So you don't have to worry about that. I think the only thing you'd have to worry about is a home invasion robbery, and they don't happen that often. The second part of the question was?
The second part of the question was, please ask what he thinks of the possible audit of the Federal Reserve. Is just one audit? Is just one audit going to bring forth truth or just cover up?
One audit will cover up. Now, the bill has to go back to the House, and there has to be joint session, and there's going to be a big fight. And Grayson and Paul are going to lead that fight. How successful they'll be, I don't know, and we'll have to see. But it's a whitewash. And I think it was 36 senators, I have all their names in Saturday's issue coming up. They've been paid off. And it's as simple as that. And it's disgraceful and disgusting. We should know what these people are doing, especially in view of the fact they're a private corporation. Where it'll all end, I don't know. But it's not good so far. I mean, you had 326 members of the House vote for that bill. I mean, that's enormous. And so let's see what they do in the House. Mr. Grayson and Mr. Paul will do the best they can, and that's all they can do. But incidentally, in order to solve that problem and bring this kind of bill back again after the next election, with the exception of Grayson and Paul and a few people like that, kick them all out. Get the incumbents out of office, almost all of them are on the take. They're paid off by Wall Street and banking. Get rid of them.
Okay, that's good advice, and that's what I'm trying to tell everybody here, week in, week out. Bob Chapman says the same thing. Colorado Al says the same thing, and I'm tired of it. If you have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, vote them out, kick them out, recall them. How do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor of the state of California? They recalled the governor. So that's what you got to do.